quality art should be timeless, and only then you will be able to enjoy the pieces throughout your lifetime. What we would like is to share the beauty of quality art with a wider public. Over 200 years we have developed our services towards 5 centuries of paintings on an international level. We've always been faithful to Amsterdam, and some 20 years ago we moved to a wonderful building next to the Rijksmuseum, very close to the Van Gogh Museum as well. The love for art and our tradition in quality expertise have always helped us to continue into the future, and we would love to share that with you. The Douwes family started actually as restorers at the end of the 18th century. We did theatre backdrops, for instance, and continued into the 19th century with dealing in contemporary art.
We have a very strong connection, mental connection with our family and with the ancestors. And what we like to do is continue the way they started and build this gallery up to what it is today.
We have been able to slowly amass about 5 centuries of paintings, and they stretch from Dutch, Flemish, French, all the way towards Russia, China, and sometimes other international countries. In the beginning of the 19th century, my forebear, Hendrik Douwes, started to slowly deal in contemporary art, which was the Romantic school of paintings. He personally knew a lot of these painters, as well as the generations after him. These painters would come by and would ask him to make a choice of their paintings. He would buy, let's say, 3 or 4 of them. They would cost each 15 guilders, and he would hang them up in the gallery and would offer it to the public. And of course, nowadays, those are the old masters of today. For the Romantic school, you had to be very precise. You needed a sort of a good technique, and it was very colorful at the same time. And slowly, of course, because of photography, they had to compete with, and with Impressionism, they were actually looking for a looser touch. And so from Schelfhout, with the real romantic touch, you develop into a Jan Wijsenbroek with a more impressionistic, colorful touch. About 100 years ago, my grandfather started to collect and deal in old master paintings. We talk about 16th and 17th century Dutch and Flemish paintings mainly. He had a great love for them, and he passed that on to the next generations. And that is why we now have developed an enormous expertise in this field. Behind me you see 2 great examples, one of a Dutch landscape, one of a Flemish landscape. And you can see the difference in colors. The Dutch one is sort of a little bit bland, it's a bit grayish, let's say. It has a low horizon, lots of sky, and the Flemish one is very colorful and has a very high horizon. That particular painting by Verhaegh and Jan Bruegel the Elder is a painting that has been passed on through generations. My grandfather already dealt in that particular painting, and the same counts for the Willem van Aalst still life next to it, which is something that my father sold about 50 years ago to a client, and it now passed on through his own children to our gallery again. In the mid-1950s, my father introduced French painting. We started with French Barbizon school painting, which predates Impressionism, and slowly developed, let's say, and moved on into Impressionism itself. Behind me you see two wonderful examples of Renoir, and later in life Renoir painted a lot of small studies on a large canvas. Sometimes you had 3 particular studies on one canvas. When he passed away, these were cut up and have become independent paintings. Douwes Fine Art elaborates also in different cultures. We have Chinese art, we have some Aboriginals, and we do Africanists. But the main focus is on Russian social realism. They also call that Impressionism. When we started with the gallery in London, we focused on an international, global type of art, and we were surprised, let's say, at the level of expertise of these artists. They were able to actually do every discipline, from genre piece to still life to marine and landscape. There is a lot of humor in their paintings, and at the same time it reminds us of this wonderful vivid palette of the French Impressionists. When Douwes Fine Art was able to present a 200th anniversary exhibition, we thought it was very appropriate to focus on original Rembrandt prints. Now, Rembrandt is of course well known for The Night Watch and his paintings. What people don't know too much is that he had an amazing oeuvre in prints. During the wee hours of the evening, when there was no light to paint, he found out that with candlelight and a copper plate, you had so much light and radiance, let's say, that he was able to draw fantastic drawings, let's say, in the copper plate. One of the most important ones is the 100 guilder print that we have hanging here. And if you look at the detail and the exquisiteness, let's say, of the chiaroscuro, the light and dark workings that Rembrandt was famous for, it is unique that we are still able to buy ourselves a piece of history from the Golden Age in Holland. So of course we are an art dealing firm, and we buy and sell art, but at the same time we feel that during the 6 generations we'd like to give a lot of service to our clients. Our services include doing valuations for insurance purposes anywhere in the world. We do our own photography, we can do research, we do lectures and tours, and we also have our own restoration department.
It's wonderful to see what's appearing. The authentic painting appears slowly, and that's a nice feeling.
We're here in our library, which my grandfather started about 100 years ago. In 1975, I started work in the firm, and it was wonderful to familiarize myself with the backbone of our knowledge. Very special to be here, where we have a library for illustrations and photographs, for books and also for slides. My dad was responsible for the slide library, and he's been doing that for about 50 years.
I have quite a collection of about 40 to 45,000 slides, and I think by passing on my knowledge, I can put the knowledge into the slides in the first place. Then my sons or other people can then check up later and learn from it.
At the same time, we have lectures here in-house. We do tours as well for students and for groups. We do that in several languages, and we welcome everybody who is doing art historical research. This is an amazing amount of information that we can offer also to the public. We've always been focusing on international business. In the past, we have been able to participate in important fairs in New York, London, Paris, even Shanghai. And we've had galleries in England as well. And for us, it is very important to maintain a relationship, a permanent and long-standing relationship with trust. We work together with collectors and also museums around the world and have been able to place many good paintings in these wonderful collections. So the Douwes family has developed a great love of art during the generations, and throughout all those generations we've been able to add expertise and pass it on to the next one. And at the same time, of course, we also would like to continue and cater for the next generations. And therefore we have old master paintings, but meanwhile we also continue into modern art, because it will be indeed the classic type of art of tomorrow.